All right, class, for this lesson, you need the math homework out. Topic 3 review worksheet part 2. It's got, I believe, 5 questions on it. You also need a pencil and a calculator. Let's take a look at question number 1. It says, you bought 2 tickets to a stock car race. Each ticket cost $17.25. You paid a total of $38.50, including an online service fee. Express the fee as a fixed charge per ticket and as a percent rate to the nearest whole percent. Okay, so there's a few different parts to this, so we're going to separate this up. First thing we have to know is that we bought 2 tickets, and each ticket cost $17.25. How do I do that? If I bought 2 tickets and each ticket cost $17.25, well, I either have to multiply 2 by $17.25, or I have to add $17.25 with $17.25. But since they give us this number, I am going to multiply this time. So it's $17.25. But since there were 2 tickets, I'm going to multiply by 2 so I can find out what they paid. When I multiply, I get, $34.50. And that's how much they paid in tickets. However, it says here that they paid $38.50. Well, that doesn't match this. Well, that's because it says they paid an online service fee. And they want to know how much of an online service fee did they pay. Well, if I take the $38.50 that we know that they paid, and the $34.50 that they paid for the actual tickets, and subtract them, I'll find out how much they paid in a service charge. They paid $4. However, they paid $4 for 2 tickets. They want to know how much did they pay per ticket. What do I have to do with that $4 to find out how much they paid per ticket? Right now, that's for 2 tickets. I want it for 1 ticket. Yeah, I have to do $4 divided by the 2 tickets. And I get $2. That's the service fee that they paid. Now they want us to take this information right here and tell us what the percent rate is to the nearest whole percent. So I'm going to need to do this. Now it asks me for the percent rate, so obviously they don't know. Now we have to ask, if we're doing part over whole, is the $2 the part of the fee or the whole thing? Right, it's the part. What was the cost of a ticket? $17.25. Go ahead and finish this problem out. Go ahead and finish it out and circle your final answer. We won't be discussing what the final answer is. You need to get a final answer. It will be in a decimal, and you have to round it to the nearest whole percent. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. It says 2 friends, Horatio and Jenna, bought 2 tickets to see a play at the local theater. Each ticket cost $17.25, and each friend donated $1 to the theater's youth program. The friends paid a total of $40.50, which also included a convenience fee. How much did each friend pay for the convenience fee? This is very simple, similar to the one above. But this time, instead of doing $17.25 times 2, I'm actually going to add them. So we have 2 friends again, and they each bought a ticket. And each ticket cost $17.25. $17.25 for 1 ticket, $17.25 for the second ticket. Each friend donated $1 to the theater's youth program. So Horatio donated $1 and Jenna donated $1. How much? did that cost? How much did they pay? Yes, you should have gotten $36.50. Of course, we know that they actually had to pay this much because the theater tacked on a convenience fee. Do you remember from number 1 how we do this? How do we use this information and that information to figure out how much the convenience fee was? Yeah, we have to subtract. Put the bigger number first, and we find out that they paid a convenience fee of $4. Now that's how much Horatio and Jenna paid. We want to just know how much one of them paid. We want to know it per ticket. They want to know how much each friend paid. What do I have to do? Yeah, I have to do $4 divided by 2. And I get $2. That's the convenience fee. Now we need to use some of this information to do part B. It says, what is the convenience fee as a percent increase in the cost of a ticket? Well, I know that they want us to find the percent, so they don't know it. How am I going to set up this side? I want you to do this part yourself. I'm not going over it. I want it to be something you try and then check tomorrow, and we'll help you with it tomorrow. But right now I want to see what you can do. Go ahead and fill in this side of the proportion. Do the very best you can, and then go ahead and finish the problem by cross multiplying. If we need to stop the tape or stop the recording for 2 or 3 minutes, that's fine. All right, let's take a look at number 3. It says, Jillian hoped to get 100 pumpkins from her garden this year. Since the weather was favorable, 10% more pumpkins grew than she expected. Unfortunately, animals ate 20% of all the pumpkins that grew. How many pumpkins were left in the garden? Is the final number of pumpkins more than or less than she hoped? And of course, she hoped to get 100. All right, let's break this down. We're going to have to show a 10% increase because it says more, and then a 20% decrease because animals ate 20% of them. So we're going to start with this. We know that it's a 10% increase. What am I going to put? What's on the top and what's on the bottom? Yes, you hope to get 100. So 100 goes on the bottom, the x goes on the top. Let's go ahead and solve this. 100 times x is 100x equals 10 times 100 is 1,000. Divide both sides by 100. What do you get? Yeah, we get 10. That doesn't really make sense though, because if Jillian hoped to get 100 pumpkins and the weather was favorable and she got 10% more pumpkins, is 10 more than 100? No, it's not. We need to do this over to the side. We did this the other day as well. What do I have to do to find out how many pumpkins she has now? She had 100, it increased by 10%. What do I do? Yeah, I have to take 100, and I have to take 10, and what do I have to do with them? I have to add them to see how many pumpkins she has now. She has 110. That's great. However, then 20% of them were eaten by animals. So we have to set up a new proportion. Now we have 20% over 100. What's the new original amount? Yeah, it's 110. And then we're trying to figure out what the change was. All right, so again, I do 100 times x 20 times 110. What do I get with 20 times 110? 2200. Very good. Divide both sides by 100. And we end up with 22. Does that mean she only has 22 pumpkins left out of 110? No, it means I have to go over to the side and figure out the change or the decrease. She's not going to have 110 pumpkins anymore. She's going to have less than that. What am I putting over here in this bubble? How am I using this information? Go ahead and complete the rest of the problem by yourself. You can have a minute or two. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. It says a salesperson at a jewelry store earns 3% commission each week. Last week, Heidi sold $700 worth of jewelry. How much did she make in commission? Okay, we know this side, the left side, is going to say what? 3 over 100. What will the other side say? Where does that 700 go, on the top or the bottom? Is that the part or the whole? Yeah, the $700 is everything she sold. Her commission, or the part she's going to receive, is the part. Go ahead and solve this problem. We'll give you a minute or two to do it, and then turn the recording back on and we'll talk about part B. All right, so for part B, we're going to find out how much did the jewelry store make from her sales. Okay, so if she sold $700 worth of goods, but then they have to pay her whatever you got for that answer, what am I going to be doing with these two numbers to get my final answer? What will I do with these two numbers? Yeah, you have to subtract. The store isn't going to get all $700. They have to take out what they have to pay her. So this will be the final amount that they get. Go ahead and work this problem out. We'll give you a minute or two to do it. Okay, let's take a look at number 5. It says, if the simple interest on $1,000 for 6 years is $420, then what is the interest rate? All right, anybody tell me what the formula for this particular problem is? It's I equals PRT. And we're going to put it over here as well, so we remember to fill that in. Right away, it says the simple interest on $1,000 is $420. So the interest is $420. What's the principal? Yeah, it's $1,000. What is the time? Yeah, it's 6. And we don't know the rate, but we're not going to write the rate just as R. We'll write it as R over 100. So we're going to dump this right into our formula. 420 equals 1,000 times R over 100 times 6. I'm going to put these over 1 because it makes it a little bit easier to multiply them. I'm going to rewrite the 420. If I multiply the top, 1,000 times R times 6, what do I get? Yes, I get 6,000 R. If I multiply the bottom, 1 times 100 times 1, I get 100. Does anybody remember the trick that we can do with the zeros? Yeah, because they have 2 matching zeros, we can cross them out. So now it's 420 equals 60R. We know how to solve that. Go ahead and solve it and put your answer down and make sure you circle it. When you're finished, please put this sheet away, and please also put your calculator back in your pouch.